Today I'm going to talk about the Chicago Marathon and run up a mountain. Kind of a small one. Today is Friday, 5 days after the Chicago Marathon, and I'm pretty much fully recovered. My quads were definitely the most sore after the marathon, the few days after the marathon. Pretty much my quads and my calves and my hamstrings weren't really sore at all or tight. So I don't know exactly why that is, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like if that means that I have imbalances when I run, I'm not sure, but my quads were pretty much the only muscles that were really tight after the marathon, and they were pretty tight for a couple of days. The rest of the day after the marathon wasn't really that bad. I was mostly just tired and felt heavy, and then the next day is when the tightness and the real soreness started to set in. So that was Monday, and then Tuesday I think was probably the worst day, and then Wednesday it was still tight but starting to get better. Yesterday, Thursday, was I felt like I was almost fully recovered, and then today I pretty much feel fully recovered. I can still feel a little bit of tightness in my quads, but definitely is not that bad. So obviously I am back in the Bay Area, and this is my first run up a mountain, first like trail running in the area, because as excited as I was to do some trail running, well, a lot of trail running, and mountain running as soon as I got here, I knew that was only like 4 weeks before the marathon. So I knew it wasn't smart to start doing a lot of elevation training just a few weeks before the marathon, because that would just kind of throw off my training, and my legs weren't used to it at all. So I didn't think that was the best idea. So I just had to be patient and hold off on coming here. But today, like I said, 5 days after the marathon, and my legs are feeling great, so I decided to come over here, and I'm loving it so far. I think close to 2 miles in on this run. I'm not sure exactly how far I'm going to go today, actually. All the way up to Black Mountain is what this is pretty much 6 miles from where I parked, so it'd be 12 miles up and down. So I don't think I'm going to quite do that much, but I'm not sure. I might just do like 5 or 6 or so. But this is a lot of fun so far. It's been a while since I've run, elevation at all, but I've pretty much never run like up a mountain. This is a small mountain. This is, I think it's like 1,500 feet or so at the top. No, I think it's more than that. I think it's close to 1,000 meters at the very top. So, a few thousand feet of elevation. So it's decent, but it's not like a 10,000, 14,000 foot mountain, definitely. But it's definitely the biggest thing I would ever have run up to this point. But like I said, I don't think I'm going to go all the way up it today. Another day I will. I've pretty much never done really like real trail running like this, and I've never really done mountain running. The closest thing I've done to mountain running was the day after a meet in high school, the Arcadia Track Meet Invitational. Our coach kind of surprised us with a run, like a long run. The day after the meet, that went up a mountain. I don't remember what mountain, I don't know how high it was, but that was pretty much the only thing like this I've done. And I remember I died on that day. I mean, my legs were probably pretty tired from the 2-day track meet, and I enjoyed that run. I definitely had a lot of fun, but I did not do well on it. I remember I died pretty hard. I was at the back of the pack. So I pretty much have no experience doing this, and I'm definitely excited to get into it. But mostly what I'm going to talk about today is the marathon. So I ran 2:53:09, or 08 actually was my official time. And I'm really proud of that. I'm really happy with that. My main goal was to break 3, because my last Chicago Marathon in 2018, That was my goal. My goal was actually, it was too ambitious of a goal, but I was really just trying to break 3, and I didn't because I died really hard. I ran 3:02, so it's not today, but that marathon 5 days ago, my main goal was just to break 3 and get that, secure that. But I was pretty sure that was going to happen. So my kind of like real goal, or more realistic goal, was as close to 250 as I could get, pretty much. Really wanted to be close to 255, hopefully under 255, and as close to 250 as I could get. So I pretty much nailed that goal. Yeah, I'm really happy with the 253. 9-minute PR, Boston qualifying time. Hopefully I get the bid, because just because you qualify doesn't mean you actually get into the race. They fill it up with just the fastest times of everyone who qualified. So a lot of people every year, even though they ran a qualifying time, they don't actually get into the marathon. So 7 minutes faster than the qualifying time, because it's 3 hours for my age group. I'm really hoping that that actually gets me in, but I'll have to wait and see. And yeah, the marathon pretty much just went perfectly to plan, almost as perfectly as it could have, because you set out a plan for a race, any race, and then a lot of times it just doesn't go exactly to plan. So my plan was to run no faster than 6:40, in between 6:40 and 6:45 for the first 20 miles, and then see how I felt at 20, and probably just kind of hold that pace, maybe be able to pick it up a little bit from there, but really just get to that point, mile 20, and just hope that I could hang on and not die. And yeah, I didn't do that exactly. The first mile we got out, and really thankfully I'm really glad that I was able to find not just one friend that I was planning on starting with, but a few others, and we all had a great pack, and we were all trying to run about the same pace. So that worked out really well. So we got boxed in because we were all in the C corral, because that's the corral that I, and then actually 2 of them I think, were in. All of us should have been in like the A corral based on what we were planning and going to run, but we were in the C corral, so we did get stuck behind a pretty good amount of people who right off the gun were going slower than us and slower than we wanted to go. So that was frustrating. We had to get around them and just try to find openings during pretty much the first mile, not actually the full first mile. I think we got into the open pretty much at like the 1200. And so that first mile I thought was going to be way too slow. I think we were at the half mile based on my watch, which may have been a little off in the city. Based off my watch, I think we were at the half mile around like 3:30, like 7-minute pace. So we were getting out slow because we had to try to get around everyone who was going slower in front of us. And then I think we actually overcorrected and picked it up a little too much. And then even when we got into the open, we were still a little too fast. So according to my watch, which again could have been off by a little bit because of the buildings in the city, but my first mile was 6:36. So a little bit faster, not horribly fast, but just a little bit faster than my goal was. And then pretty much for the first half, I was running just about 6:40s, low 6:40s, like I wanted. I had a couple in there that were like 6:37, 6:38, something like that. But for the most part, it was like 6:40, 6:42, 6:45s in there a little bit. So I was pretty much as close to my goal as I could have been without it being dead on. And again, realistically, it's never going to be perfect. So I was really happy with the first half of the race. My first half split was 1:27:40 or something like that. So great pacing for the first half and a great half marathon split for what I wanted. And I felt great. I really felt great pretty much the whole time. The last mile definitely hurt a lot, but really like the first 22 miles were just like smooth, no real issues. I actually let my friends go a little bit, just like a few seconds faster than me. I don't know, like 5-6 miles in, just because they were hitting times just a couple seconds faster than 6:40 each mile. And I was just really trying to be patient. I was trying to be as close to 6:40 as I could be, so I let them go just a few seconds in front of me. I could always see them. They were never too far ahead, but just kind of let them go a little bit, eased off. I maintained pace, but I just kind of let them get some space on me. But yeah, I felt great, and just kind of kept chipping off the miles. Yeah, I saw my family, I saw Grace, and was just having a lot of fun the first half. I mean, it was so enjoyable to be back in a huge race like that. Apparently, actually, the Chicago Marathon was the first major race in America in like pretty much since before COVID. And so to be a part of that was really cool. To just to be part of that atmosphere for the first time in 3 years was so fun. Just the crowd and the atmosphere around a marathon like that is just so exciting and so much fun. So that was really, really enjoyable to just be able to take it all in, especially in the first half because I was just cruising. And then, yeah, so getting up to like mile 20, everything was going right. I was taking my goos and feeling great. And it was just me and one other friend. A couple of the other ones were dropping back a little bit by mile 20. So me and another friend were together and hitting, like really hitting the times that we wanted to still be hitting. And I knew from 3 years ago that I died at mile 20. So if I got to 20, when I got to 20 as comfortably as I did, like feeling as good as I did this year, I was really confident and just feeling really good. And then, you know, we got to mile 22 and we were still hitting. By that point, we were kind of dropping times down a bit. I think we were 6:30s, close to 6:30 by mile 22. We were both feeling great, I think. I mean, he was doing really well. I don't know exactly how he was feeling, I guess, but he was hitting the times awesome right with me, and we were just working off each other and just feeling really good. Like mentally, physically, we were starting to hurt, but mentally, it was so nice to have another friend there to run with and just like I said, feed off each other, work off each other, and push each other. So that's what we kept doing. We got to mile 23, 24 is where I saw my family for the last time. They handed me the GoPro so I could get some video in the last 2 miles. And then I took my last gel at mile 24, but I actually only took half of it because my stomach was starting to feel a little, like there was a little too much in there from all the water and Gatorade. I was pretty much taking a little bit of water and a little bit of Gatorade at almost every single aid station. And so my stomach was getting a little heavy. So I just didn't really feel like I was going to need that last gel, but I didn't want it to come back to bite me in the last mile and have my legs just fall apart, which could have happened, but thankfully didn't. So I did have half of the last gel. I really think I could have just not had any of it, but wanted to be a little bit safe. And then the last 2 miles, I broke away from my friend because I was just really pushing and trying to just run as fast as I could to close, and feeling great. Really starting to hurt though. So feeling great, but then hurting at the same time because like I knew I was going to run a time I was really happy with, but my legs were starting to definitely scream at me a little bit by that point. Mile 25. The last like 3 miles really just kind of mixed into one in my head because you're hurting so bad at that point, and the finish line seems so close after 23 miles. So yeah, I don't remember too much specifically, but yeah, I remember my legs, you know, definitely really hurting, but I was looking at my watch and it was showing me like, you know, 6:10 pace when I got, or right before I got to mile 25, probably with like I could see mile 25, the sign for mile 25 was like, I don't know, 10 meters in front of me or something. And I looked at my watch and I remember, I think I saw like 5:56 or something like that. And then I ended up splitting for mile 25 late because I think I was taking video. And so the split for mile 25 was like I don't remember, closer to like 6:20, I think. But that was like well after mile 25 actually. So I think that mile was pretty close to 6 minutes according to my watch. Again, maybe wasn't exactly accurate. And then mile 26, I split at like around 6:10, I think, or maybe like 6:05. So I think both of those miles were a little bit off because I was late splitting mile 25. But I think both of them were close to 6:10, 6:15. So, I mean, I really picked it up, which I was surprised with because I knew based on how good I was feeling for the first half and the first 20 miles, and when I got to 22 and I was still feeling strong, I knew I was going to be able to close well, but I didn't really know how well. I didn't really think that I'd actually be able to run close to a 6-minute mile or 2 of them. So that really was surprising, but you know, I'm very happy with it. So yeah, came around or hit the last showed 1 mile to go, 25.2, 1 mile to go sign, and I was taking video. I was like hyping up the crowd, and they were going crazy, and my legs were hurting a lot, my stomach was cramping, but I was having so much fun. And rounded the second to last turn, went up the little bit of a hill that is Roosevelt Street, or whatever the street is called, but it's Roosevelt. So I got to Roosevelt, second to last turn, big crowd on that corner, and went up that little bit of a hill on Roosevelt. It's not much of a hill, but at the last mile of a marathon, last half mile of a marathon, it definitely kind of hurt. And then rounded the last turn onto Columbus, and that last stretch feels long. It's only like about 0.2 or something, but feels long. But across the finish, and just really happy overall. So yeah, I mean, that's just kind of a rundown of the race. All right, I just made it, not to the top, but I think this is going to be my turnaround point. I'm at like 2.25 miles, but just beautiful view here over pretty much the whole, not the whole, but like the South Bay area, not just even Santa Clara, but I mean, everything. It's beautiful. Yeah, I have not run this high up in a long time, if ever, actually. So this is fun. My heart rate is definitely up, and my legs are probably going to be hurting from this again, but definitely a lot of fun doing this. So yeah, the marathon, again, I'll just keep saying it, but really happy with how the race went. My fueling went really well, I think, overall. I was taking the gels at every 6 miles pretty much. I think just a couple of times I was not exactly at the mile marker, but that doesn't really matter. I think I took my second one at like 12.5 maybe, or something like that. So yeah, overall, fueling was great. Water, and a little bit of water and a little bit of Gatorade at pretty much every aid station, like I said. And I think that set me up really well. I started doing that early on, and knowing how warm and humid it was supposed to get. Well, it was already pretty humid when the race started, but knowing how warm it was supposed to get, up close to 80 degrees, I definitely knew that I wanted to get ahead on hydration, because if you wait too long, if you start drinking when you're thirsty, you waited too long. So I think that went really well, because I don't really think that the weather affected me. I mean, maybe it did. Maybe I could have run even faster if it was perfect conditions, but overall, I mean, I didn't really notice it. I've seen other people talking about how it was horrible conditions and that's why they didn't race well at all, and I don't really know what to say about that, because I didn't really mind it. Even the wind, it was a little bit windy, but I didn't think it was that bad, and I actually felt good at a lot of the times where I felt it, because it was just cooling me off. But overall, I really didn't think the weather had that much of an impact on me. Again, I could be wrong. Maybe I mean, in perfect conditions, I probably could have been able to run faster, but I really wasn't too disappointed about the weather. So I ran 127, I think like 40, I forget exactly, but 127.40-ish for the first half, and then like a 125.28 or so for the second half, that means. So negative split by a little bit, a couple minutes, actually. Maybe that's a lot in a marathon. So that tells me that I can run faster overall in my next marathon. I can just hold a faster pace throughout the whole race, because I think ideally you don't negative split in a marathon. I think it's supposed to be like a little bit of a positive split, or pretty close to even. Honestly, I don't really know, but if I ran a 2-minute negative split, I think that means that I should have, but just can run faster in the first half and overall. But I'm happy that I didn't run faster in this marathon in the first half, because my goal was to do what I did. My goal wasn't to try to run my absolute fastest possible time on that day. My goal was to break 3, and you know, just run a really strong race, which I did. So very thrilled with how the day went, had a lot of fun. Very glad my family was able to watch me, and yeah, I'm looking forward to Boston. Hopefully I do get in, and I'm not certain on it yet, but if I get in, then I will most likely run that in the sprint. I'm almost certain I will. Just haven't actually looked at all the details yet, but most likely we'll run Boston this spring as long as I get in. So fingers crossed that I do. And then after that, I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna start running down this mountain now. And that does it for my first trail small mountain run, I guess. That was 4.6 miles, 4.66 miles at 7:43 pace. So a little slow, but really not too bad considering it's been 5 days since the marathon. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to doing more trail running like this and making more videos like this. So yeah, that does it for today. Thanks for watching.